UFC Fight Night Moicano versus Saint-Denis is happening this Saturday, and I'm going to be going through the entire card. We're going to start with the early prelims. We're going to end with the main events, and I'm just going to go kind of give my breakdown of the fighters, predict what might happen, and whole thing is I don't really know too much about some of the early fighters. Obviously, some of the fighters higher up on the card that I have more knowledge about, I can give more in depth. But all these early fighters, I'm just going to be going based off of their first fights and kind of how I think the fight will go when they happen. So, without further ado, we'll start the first fight on the card, which is going to be Bolaji Oki versus Chris Duncan. Now, Oki is a decent striking fighter. He's got a nice jab, good reaction times. His takedown defense is okay, but once he's taken down, his wrestling defense really does need a little bit of work. He's a physically strong guy, and his shot selection is really nice if his opponents let him work. Like if they let him stand and kind of start to get shots off, he can start to really nice and land stuff. Chris Duncan, striking fighter as well, very physical guy. He's got good kicks, and his punches have some sting, and he throws them like everywhere. Like your entire body, you're getting countered with punches and kicks everywhere. So he is really good at countering opponents who are trying to push the pace against him. He stays patient, and he's got a good feel of when he can push the pace after landing like on an opponent or something. His ground game seems decent, and his physical strength just adds to that skill. So I'm going to lean towards Chris Duncan getting the decision, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to pull off a finish either. So next up, we've got Nora Cornell versus Cavalcanti. Now, Cornell, or Cornole, I don't know. She's a striker fighter. She works well in the stand-up and in the clinch. She's not the most physical, but she's got enough experience to hold her own against takedowns and avoid getting subs on the ground. Cavalcanti, a rangier fighter who likes to strike off the back foot. She's got nice counters, but she does get caught against opponents who close the distance aggressively, who are coming in to hit her. And this is going to be their second fight, and I'm going to lean towards Cavalcanti keeping the distance and landing at range against Cornole. Up next, we've got Daniel Perez versus Victor Altamirano. Altamirano. Now, Perez, he's a striker. He's got heavy hands, heavy kicks. He's got good takedown defense, nice combos. His aggression does leave him open for counters, and his wrestling defense needs some work. His last fight, he just got caught in an arm triangle. Altamirano is a striker. He throws pretty unorthodox strikes and seems to have a decent defense up close. Pretty strong in the clinch. His head movement has him leaving his chin exposed, but he does seem to have a good chin. But Perez does really hit hard, so I'm going to lean towards Perez catching him and finishing it potentially. But I wouldn't be surprised either if Altamirano took the fight. He's a dog. So Aylin Perez versus Zheleznyakova. So now Perez, grappling heavy fighter. She tries to gain positions, and she's always trying for submissions. Her striking isn't bad, and she's got really good distance management. She seems to have some decent power, which is good. And now Zheleznyakova, she's a stand-up fighter, and she's got a really nice 1-2. She doesn't throw a lot of kicks, and her takedown defense, I would say, is average, as well as her ability to get back up. And a big problem for Zheleznyakova, and there's another fighter higher up on the card who also has this problem, is that she's very fair-skinned. She's white, very fair-skinned, and she shows damage so easily. If you pat her on the back, you'll leave a handprint kind of thing. She gets punched with something, and her entire face is red. So I think, unfortunately for her, that she just has to avoid the strikes, or else, they're going to think she's getting damaged a lot more than she is. But I think Perez is going to be able to get a hold of her, take her down, and I think she can hold her own in the striking game also. So I'm going to lean towards a Perez decision or sub. Who knows? So now Taylor Lapulus versus Vince Morales. So Lapulus, decent stand-up guy. He's got nice kicks, good counters, especially with his knees. He's got a good takedown defense, and he's able to escape if his opponents want him to keep him in the clinch. And one of the strikes that he did in his last fight, he fought Cody Stamann, and Cody Stamann would try to close the distance real fast and grab a hold of him to engage in the clinch, and he would constantly throw a knee up the middle, and it would always land on Cody Stamann's midsection throughout the fight. And so I really like that about Lapulus. his reaction times are really good. So Morales is a come forward fighter. He's got good combos, decent takedowns, and ground game. He puts on a good pace and pressure, and he keeps it really consistent. So he doesn't really let his opponents get a breather. He's constantly pushing and engaging. His work in the clinch is really nice too, and I think it's a toss up. But I'm going to lean towards Lapulus, keeping it on the feet and then breaking down Morales over the time. But I wouldn't be surprised either if the other thing happened. But I'm going to lean towards Lapulus. Ludovic Klein versus Roberts. So Klein, he's a stand-up fighter, fast hands, faster kicks. He's got good takedown defense and his combos, really nice. His shots are really accurate from a distance, and he has like a kind of sneaky sort of power. His combos, once he starts to land them, utilizes like a lot of punches and kicks very well. His timing that he does for like takedowns is also really nice. Impressive, actually. Like he knows exactly when's the best time to like change positions and go in for that takedown. So Roberts is a stand-up guy with a he's got a strange body type. So he's tall, he's got a long torso, and he's got short arms, which is like terrible. Like I feel like his body is just open for like body kicks and shots down there. So his strikes are clean, but he does have to get closer to land, and his height helps with that because I don't like, they have a lot higher to punch than they're used to because he is a taller dude. But I don't think he's going to be faster with a stand-up, and I don't think his ground game is going to be on Klein's level. And I'm going to lean towards a Klein finish. Moving up, we got Omar Sy versus Dawoon Jung. Sy, he's a wrestler. He's got good takedowns. He's strong on the ground. He knows how to advance his positions, and he's not in there to just get control time. Jung, a stand-up fighter. He likes to kick the legs. He takes a lot of damage to land his own. Jung does. And he has been hurt in his last few fights. So I'm going to lean towards Sy, getting him to the ground and then submitting him. Up, we've got Ion Cutelaba versus Ivan Erslan. So Cutelaba, come forward fighter, good power, nice takedown defense. He's got good works. He does really good work out of the clinch, and he's got a solid chin. His elbows are really nasty in the break, and he's really patient, and he lands his combos if his opponents let themselves get backed up. Ivan Erslan, stand-up fighter. He's got really nice power. He's really patient in the cage. Like he kind of does like a feeling out, throwing a few jabs, and then boom, just like explodes outward landing combos while he comes in. So he's not reckless. He does get hit because he comes in only at certain intervals, but he comes in and he's going to be landing 2 or 3 punches on you, and his punches are heavy. Like he hits hard. He's knocking dudes out, and I think he's in KSW. So I think Erslan is going to be fighter, and I think that he's going to be faster than Cutelaba, and he's going to land punches, and he's going to KO him, and I'm going to think it's going to happen in the round 2. So now, Fares Ziam versus Matt Frivola. Excuse me. Ziam, stand-up fighter, decent takedown defense. He is a little light. He's a very skinny guy. So takedowns and slams, I think, are kind of a weak point for him. That happened to him in his last fight, where he would get engaged in the clinch, and if his opponent could lock his hands together, he was getting picked up and then tossed. So on the feet, though, his hands are good. His kicks are great. He's okay on the ground, but I think somebody who's skilled in submissions is going to give him issues. Matt Frivola, I think, is that guy. He's an aggressive come-forward guy. He hits hard. He's got fast hands. He got fast kicks. He's not afraid to take it to the ground either. And his footwork and strikes always have steam behind him. Like he's always ready to. He's going to be hitting you with something. So I'm going to lean towards Matt Frivola taking the fight by second round KO. Charriere versus Miranda. So Charriere, stand-up guy, okay takedown defense, very good defensive wrestling though. He's a bit weak in the clinch, which was surprising because he seems like he's a pretty built dude. But his head movement and his pace are really good. He seems like the bigger guy, and he can't seem to bully his opponents on the fence. And I don't know if maybe that was just his last opponent who was just really good and strong. But he looks like a big dude. I don't see why he should be letting himself get kind of manhandled during his fights. So if he gets taken down, though, his wrestling defense allows him to get back to his feet or get into a better position over the fighter that's taking him down. So I was really surprised by that. Miranda, though, is a jiu-jitsu guy. He's got great takedowns and really good transitions. His stand-up is good also, and it allows him to get in close and then get the get like a hold and then get a trip and then work on the ground. So he did really well early against BSD, got him down a couple times, tried to advance position. And then when that didn't work, he tried to keep it on the stand-up. And then his opponent before his most recent fight, because BSD was 2 fights ago, and then his most recent opponent, and he got hit, so he was able to get it to his opponent, tripped, get the back, body triangle, and rear naked, all in the span of 20 seconds. Super clean, really awesome, and so I'm going to lean towards a Miranda sub, but I do think the fight is a little bit even, but if Miranda can get him down, I just think that he's going to be able to get him in a submission. Moving up, we've got Kevin Jousset versus Brian Battle. Jousset, rangy fighter, stiff jab, mean one too. He's got good combos and his head movement when he's in the pocket. He stays defensively responsible. He has some decent work in the clinch and he throws in a few kicks every now and then. He does seem to have some wrestling skills, but I'd have to watch more of his fights to see. He didn't show any his last fight. Brian Battle, aggressive, come forward guy. He throws everything at you. And from everything from the start, he's throwing shots. He's getting jumping knees, kicks, punches, knees in the clinch. He's got good wrestling, offensive and defensive. He is aggressive. He's an aggressive guy, but he stays defensively responsible when he's in. He's keeping his heads up. He's keeping his hands up, moving his head. He's not just leaving his chin out there to get cracked. And I think if Battle can get Jousset to fight at his pace, he'll end up hurting him and finishing him. But I also think Jousset has the skills to keep him at a distance with his striking. His jab, I think, can interrupt Battle's rhythm and could possibly not allow him to get off his work. So, but I'm going to lean towards the aggression, giving Battle the win, and stopping Jousset in the third. William Gomez, he's a tall guy who likes to kick and punch at range, high takedown defense, and his work in the clinch is pretty good. His height allows him some sub-attempts from different spots, and his leg kicks are clean and accurate. Brito, he's a come-forward striker, nasty leg kicks. He's got good combos when he has his opponents against the fence, and he's a very strong guy. Brito's last fight, his fight ended because he had cut the dude's legs who he was fighting, got a cut in the shin. So I think that Brito's going to be able to get him and then wrestle Gomez to the ground. Moving up, we've got Imavov versus Brendan Allen. Now, Brendan Allen, he's a stand-up striker. He's got pretty standard striking. He can time punch as well, and he's able to land kicks to the body after some warming up. He's super orthodox, and there's really not much I can say about him other than he's able to land his shots, and if you let him work, he'll work the entire night at that pace. Now, Imavov, he's a striker as well. He's able to land good punches and kicks. He also throws his trips in there when he catches kicks. His combos are nice. He seems to have some decent power. And I just think that Imavov is going to be quicker and more dynamic, and I'm going to lean towards a Imavov finish. And last but not least, we've got Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, I love Renato Moicano. I really do. He's probably one of my favorite fighters on the roster right now. Now, Moicano, he's a really good striker. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He actually just competed in a tournament recently. He stays calm and composed even when he gets hurt. And some of his fights, he does seem to get hurt. He's got good trips. He's strong in the clinch. His power is there, but he's not like a one-hit KO guy, but he can land his shots consistently enough to hurt you. So when he has you on the ground, always looking for subs, always looking to advance his position or land damage when he has you on the ground. Now, Saint-Denis, dynamic striker, heavy hands. He also does a lot of grappling, and so I think they're kind of evenly matched on the ground, so we'll see how that goes. Moicano, he's a dog. He don't quit, and so I think Denis will have to stop him. And I'm going to lean towards Denis finish just because of the power, but I really am hoping for a Moicano win. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments, and then we'll see how these fights go. And like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one.